We met a few years ago when you were just starting Somo Global Up. That was on a rooftop in Soho in 2009, I think. You and Nick were starting the business. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what your vision was when you started it, and then maybe we could talk about how that's changed.
Yeah, sure. It's good to see you again, Tim. Yeah, 2009, I think I was, in 2010 in Soho. Myself and Nick had this vision that basic problems need to be solved within mobile. I mean, if you look around then, smartphone penetration was probably 5-8% of the market. We could see the rise, we could see where it was heading, and knew, just like we did with the search industry in 99-2000, that marketeers would need support and help. And from there, we started to build the business and work with different marketeers in originally the UK market and start solving problems. And the first one we were solving was in media and advertising.
Yeah.
And then we saw very clearly that there's a technology challenge.
So, would it be fair to say then that you started out with a kind of agency ethos?
Yes, initially it was that, and the reason for that is it's a great way to start a business because ultimately you don't need a huge capital investment to start. So you can start the business in that way, and then you can start to use the money you make from that to invest in technology. And that's exactly what we've done over the last 4 years now.
And so you describe yourself as a technology company rather than...
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, over 75% of our revenue today comes from technology, and increasingly that is also licensed technology as well.
So tell us more about what kind of technologies are.
Yeah, so we've been busy in the last few years expanding globally. Major focus is across Europe and USA. And really what we do today is we come in and we work with the C-level or boards of businesses to really solve this digital transformation problem that's really gone beyond just the internet. And the internet solved a lot of problems for people, but mobile has changed so much that we're solving it with a number of different solutions. And those solutions can be mapped anywhere across the customer journey in terms of getting more customers to understand who you are and what your business is, through to considering your product, purchase, and the whole purchase cycle is getting huge now in terms of how people use mobile, tablets, and these other different connected devices, and through to probably the biggest word right now is the L word, which is loyalty and really ongoing CRM. And what we do is we're carving out solutions through that customer journey for the brands that we're working with, and some of those are custom solutions, and some of those are licensed solutions.
So can you be even more specific about how these solutions work? I mean, if I'm a brand and I license your technology, what do I get? A dashboard? And if I get a dashboard, what can I control from that dashboard?
Yeah, so a good example is one of our products called Lithiant. Lithiant is an ROI-based engine that basically is focused on measuring the lifetime value of a customer.
Right.
You install a very simple SDK into an application, and on the back of that, as you just quite rightly said, you have a dashboard where you can view all of your marketing spend data and all of your conversion data and start to map out what customers are useful, which ones aren't. The vision for that product goes towards cross-device, which I think everybody in the market is trying to solve or working across now. We have a number of different solutions. We partner with other companies to help us through that, to actually start to understand the customer journey across tablets, mobiles and desktops with Lithiant.
And is that, so that's all app-based, or does that work on websites?
That one is mainly for apps, and that's the problem we're solving there. There's many different companies that solve web-based problems, but for that we focus on apps. We can do the web as well, but that's not really the core focus of that product. Other products are custom products, so we're building applications, building sites, increasingly cross-device sites for customers to again solve problems with usually purchases. And large brands today want to be able to engage with the customer across the entire journey, and we will build those for them even on a custom way as well.
And so what about geographically? You've grown prodigiously in the last 4 or 5 years. Where are you now in terms of global reach?
We're now about 180 people. We have our headquarters in London still, because myself and Nick happened to be there when we started. We have a fantastic technology centre in Bristol, out the west of England, which is growing day by day for us at the moment and doing really, really well. And then the 2 main offices are in New York and San Francisco, with New York being our USA hub. We do have engineers as well in South Carolina as well, but New York is our main focus there. I found that New York and the surrounding areas of New York very, very similar problems that people want solved as they do in London today. So we're able to map out a number of the things we do with brands and where we do with brands in London and actually export that to the USA, who I'd say is probably about 10 months behind us.
Well, how do you summarise the kind of know-how and the willingness to accept new digital ideas among the marketing community? Because clearly marketing is going digital, but there is still anecdotal evidence that suggests a lot of marketers aren't fully on board. What do you think?
Spot on. This is so early still. I can't believe I'm still saying that. I thought we were at the right time in 2009 and 10. I think that was ridiculously early. It's still early now, and people are just adopting it. And even now, I'm seeing brands who are mapping out a digital campaign. Mapping out a whole marketing campaign, and the traditional above the line will still be 70-80% of that. Digital gets smaller and smaller. Mobile will be a small piece that is a box check, and that's just crazy, because I also know brands who over the last holiday season saw online sales on mobile being at 70% plus, which is a complete game changer. So if you haven't got a strategy to actually embrace the customer mobile today, then you may not have it tomorrow.
But I mean, that's great for you in a way, isn't it? It's just an open goal for you to aim at.
Absolutely, and that's what we've built. We've built this engine now who is able to do whatever is thrown at us. And I'm very, very confident of that because I have the fantastic team of 180 people who now we can operate through a standard process that we've industrialised over the last few years. We have had time to industrialise that process, and we're now able to solve any of those problems, whether that is a strategic issue from the board of how do I tackle this problem, all the way through to building it or taking it to market as well. We've got examples where we've done that with a number of brands who have been leading the market, and then we're now able to onboard those who are, they think they're late, but I think they're still early.
Right. So can you talk about how many clients you have and what kind of revenues you're achieving?
In terms of clients, it varies all the time. I should know that off the top of my head. It's probably around the 50 mark. I know we've worked with over 200 brands in the last 5 years. Probably 50 that we're consistently working with, and obviously we have a different tiering structure. Some work occasionally, and some work consistent, always on. And it's very different relationships we have with them. We don't actually disclose all of our revenues in there, but I can say that we're in the very proud tens of millions. So.
Are you making money? Or?
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. There's no point in not.
Are you VC funded or?
We have a very, very minor investment from MMC Ventures, who is a venture fund in London who helped us invest in a bunch of our licensed technology platforms last year.
Right.
On top of the lithium dashboard, we also have an events technology business called Summit, which we've just taken to market as well.
Right.
And we have about another 3 or 4 different platforms which we're also building out. So that investment really was really focused to support that. But the core business is totally profitable with what it does.
Is your core business extremely competitive, but you just are, clearly have a good technology, or are you doing something that's slightly different from everybody else?
I think we're quick at moving. We have very defined processes, and we know what is right. And I think what we've really worked over the last number of years now is working out exactly. We know what something costs to do. We know from insights now. We do a lot of insight research across the market exactly what will help the brands win. And those brands, the brands that work with us, are the ones that really understand that and are engaged and really on board properly with us. I think it's hard to come into the market now because we've got that history, which has been huge to us.
Right.
We've learned over the last number of years that to enter the market. That's probably why we have very little competition. Entering the market is pretty hard for people. I think the usual people we come up against now is either a large system integrator like Capgemini or Accenture, or possibly someone like Sapient and Sapient Nitro, which we probably find ourselves more aligned against recently, and being successful.
And one of the trends that people talk about is, as much as digital, tablets, mobile is growing, there's also a sense that this all has to be combined with the offline channel as well. We get things like click and collect now. And, there's a school of thought that the retail is actually quite a good differentiator. So I wonder how well you are set up for, handling the physical transactions as well as digital ones.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and we've spent a lot of the time. I wouldn't class ourselves as a mobile business, and we classified ourselves as solutions for the connected world because that's really what we do. And that was about 18, 24 months ago, because we do build solutions in the connected world, and increasingly the connected world is actually combining online and offline on that user journey. And I think a number of our clients as well in the premium sector and even luxury sector, you'll see that journey going from researching online, coming in store, checking in store, coming back online to more research, and maybe purchase either. And I think the whole reimagining the digital retail space is becoming more and more important. And I think a good example of that is that earlier on this year we launched Audi's first ever experience store, which is outside the dealership in the Westfield shopping centre in Stratford. And this was an entire experience store for about 8-9 weeks, and inside of there was just all of the different technology for them to experience the new Audi A3 e-tron vehicle. So, and that's a brilliant example where customers come in, get all the information they want to on their phone, experience on tablets, augmented, see inside the car and everything, and then come away, decide, and then buy it. Today, a dealership, I'm sure over time that will start to happen online.
And just speaking of sort of being a connected company rather than a mobile company, what part do you have to play in the kind of emergent new technologies around watches, even access and light bulbs and this whole Internet of Things area? Is there any room for you to play in that space?
Absolutely. That's why I have a full-time innovation team. I have 6 people just focused purely on innovation, running hack days, we still have our labs that run in London, and more recent lab we built in New York now as well, where we are focused on the future and the next step of innovation. And that's really where we were with tablets back in 2010. Yeah. We did that and worked out what the problem was with them, and then started to build solutions. We're one of the first, actually we were the first in Europe to have Google Glass. We had 7 pairs before, I think Google themselves, and tried to solve problems on that device. We understand what the UK use cases are there in enterprise, which I think is still going to be a space where we'll see that kind of technology used. Watches, we've been hacking and looking at all the different use cases of the Android Wear kit so far. Obviously we've got Apple Watch now coming out next week, so looking forward to everybody getting excited by that. No doubt that will actually start to grow the watch market as a whole, and we'll start to see how customers use them around notifications and so on. But that's a place we play in, because we're used to fragmented ecosystems, we're used to apps and web and new ways of customers interacting, which is really what we do.
Yeah, and so you're kind of working as much around interfaces and things like that as you are around tracking transactions and stuff?
I'd say user interface is probably one of the biggest things right now, and even when I see even Mobile Congress now, the focus from Samsung today about we've now designed a much beautiful, much better device within the S6. I think we're going to see more and more about design and user experience, and it's one area that I've invested heavily in is our UX and UI team within the business, and that's something we're very, very proud of, is bringing those great experiences. And that whole connected space as well, beyond the watches, we're a big believer in the home, working with Hive, Connected Home in the UK, which is part of the British Gas Group, who recently acquired AlertMe. They actually own their own technology there. We're working with the C-level there on the future connected home as well, which I think is a fascinating, exciting place. And my home's already wired up, so I'm ready to go.
It's pretty amazing though to go from sort of having a vision of creating a mobile marketing agency to end up, working with British Gas on connected homes. It's quite a journey, isn't it?
It is a great journey, but I have to say, when Nick and I sat there, and I think Nick's probably still got the piece of paper somewhere, that we drew it out, and it said we start with marketing because we get the insight, and we'll start in that place. And we had technology, we had build, we had loyalty, we had CRM, we had all of these things on the piece of paper in 2009. And what I love is that we were actually executing against that plan. And that plan holds absolutely true. We haven't changed away from it. Obviously, you navigate left and right as you go through it, but generally, what we decided to do, and the goal is create technology that people can utilise quickly and easily as part of our portfolio. That's really
brilliant. Carl, thanks very much for talking to us.